So, do you ever feel like life is just happening to you? Like, no matter how hard you try, you're stuck managing and surviving, and maybe even secretly waiting for some type of permission to really live the life that you want? Well, today I'm going to show you how to make the most out of one of the most powerful shifts you can ever make, moving from being a victim of your circumstances to a conscious creator of your life. And not just a creator, a co creator with God or source or the universe or whatever name resonates with you. And of course, here on the Building Resilience podcast, we're not just talking about mindset, we're talking about nervous system regulation. We're weaving in today the power of imagination and visualization and journaling and doodling and what actually changes when you start choosing faith over fear. By the end of this podcast, you're going to understand the nervous system science behind survival mode and creativity, the real cost of not believing, and practical strategies to move into your creator energy starting today. Welcome to the Building Resilience Podcast, episode 229, How to Reclaim Your Power and Co-Create Your Life. Welcome to Building Resilience, a podcast where theory, practical strategies, and inspiring stories show you how to unlock your best life. I'm your host, Leah Davidson. As a certified life coach, speech-language pathologist, and nervous system resilience expert, it is my mission to teach you how to be more resilient to life's adversities. I will show you how to manage your mind, befriend your nervous system, process your emotions, and even eliminate stress. It's time to do more than just survive. It's time to thrive. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Building Resilience Podcast. Just wanted to check in on you and your nervous system. And a couple of reminders, if your nervous system feels like it needs a little bit of support, I have a few easy ways to help support you. Firstly, there's my guided journal. It's a mental health journal for emotional well-being and nervous system care. It's available on Amazon. The link will be in the show notes. I also have a super fun membership called the Nervous System Journaling Club. This is where you learn about your nervous system through journaling and doodling. It is also an amazing community. It's a great place for you to start. And I also have a more involved monthly membership called Connections, where you get coursework, you get coaching, and you get an amazing community. And you also get access to the Nervous System Journaling Club with that one as well. So make sure to join me. Today, we are going to cover quite a few different things. We're going to be talking about belief and the cost of not believing. We're going to talk about fear versus faith and how they relate to your nervous system. We're going to talk about how to move from victim to creator. Now, I've done episodes about this in the past, so you may want to check those out. It's episode 113 and 120, so it was a while ago. And we're going to talk about creation and what it means to be a co-creator. And then, of course, I'm going to give you some practical tools. We'll talk about how to live your life from the energy of being a creator. Now, let's talk about something first. We'll get this off the table that may feel a little bit uncomfortable. Let's talk about belief. Now, for some people, even bringing up somebody like God or source or just the idea of creator can feel a little bit taboo. And maybe it brings up some religious baggage. Maybe it feels uncomfortable or even unsafe. And I get it. And I'm not here to tell you what or who you have to believe in. But I am going to tell you this. When you lose connection to something bigger than yourself, something greater than yourself, it can actually really cost you. Because when you stop believing in anything beyond your immediate circumstances, your nervous system actually reads that as danger. So remember, your nervous system is constantly scanning for safety and danger. And if you feel like you're carrying it all on your own, it can be interpreted as danger. You can feel like survival is all there is. When your body is in that survival mode, sort of that fight or flight, that shutdown or freeze, or what I call team hyper or team hypo, it's really hard to access things like your creation, your ability to create, your ability to dream or imagine. So these things are really found in a safer, more regulated state, that zone of resilience state. So if you're stuck in survival, in team hyper, team hypo, believing there is nothing bigger than you, that you're all alone, you actually run the risk of coping from fear and trying to control things instead of building your life from vision and trust. And it's not just a mental block. It's actually a physiological shift. So, being in a state of survival really does change how your brain works. It changes how your body feels. It changes how your entire system operates. Now, the good news is belief is not something that you have or don't have. Beliefs will shift, and our beliefs can be built and they can be rebuilt. Connection can actually be restored. And when it is, your nervous system responds, not with hypervigilance, but with safety and possibility and peace. So, for starters, I want you to just stop for a second and think of a time where life felt unbearably heavy. We've all had those times. And it was made worse because you believed you were in it alone. Now, I know when I work with my clients who suffered traumatic brain injuries, often through accidents, there can be a feeling of being alone. It's hard to explain to others what you're going through. Even your closest friends and family members who say they understand, they actually have trouble understanding, which makes sense. We all go through our own unique adversities and struggles, so none of us are exempt. But sometimes it can be helpful to share the experience with somebody who has had a similar experience to really connect on that level because there's that shared connection. And we know that connection is really healing and regulating. Now, another thing I see a lot, and it's a known factor in helping people go through challenges, is whether they have a belief in something bigger than themselves actually makes a difference. Do they feel all alone? Do they believe that there is some higher purpose? Now, I'm not saying what that higher purpose is or what it needs to be or who it is, but we know that it is important. Viktor Frankl wrote about it. He researched about it in his famous book, Man's Search for Meaning. And then Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." So essentially, having a strong purpose or reason for living, that why, can help a person endure difficult situations or circumstances, which is the how. So that is why it's often tied to belief or many different beliefs, a belief that you're not alone, that you are part of something greater, that you have purpose. Now, maybe you don't know what that is. So we'll talk a bit about building a belief or maybe rebuilding depending on where you're at. It actually starts simply by recognizing that every single day, sometimes every single hour, we are choosing between two options: fear or faith. Now, fear says, stay small, protect yourself, don't risk it, don't take a chance. And we know that fear is linked to a nervous system response. It's your brain and your body trying to keep you alive by shrinking your world down to what feels controllable, because it's all about survival. So this is more of a hypervigilant team hyper kind of response. Now, actually, the other option is also a nervous system response. Faith is linked to your nervous system experience as well. It's linked to team resilient. Now, it's not blind optimism. It is a felt sense of support, a knowing that even if you don't have all the answers, you're actually not alone. And when your nervous system feels safe enough to lean into faith, you find that even your breath will slow down and deepen. Your body relaxes and softens. Your mind opens up and you can reconnect to things like imagination and hope and possibility. So having faith, it's not about ignoring reality. I believe it's actually about expanding what is possible. It's about stepping forward, even when logic says you're not ready. Because if you're always waiting for proof before you believe, you'll probably never move. Now, faith, it also softens survival. It provides some safety. And in that softness, this is where your creative energy can wake back up. So, when you start choosing faith over fear, you naturally begin shifting how you see yourself. And one of the biggest shifts when you're driven by faith over fear is that you no longer are a passive recipient of life circumstances. You realize you have agency, you have choice. Now, when you're in survival mode, it's really easy to fall into old reactive patterns. The drama triangle is a tool that I use that explains it perfectly. I talked all about this drama triangle in episode 120. So go back and listen to that. But a quick review, it was first brought forward by Stephen Cartman back in the 60s. And basically, he created this model that showed how we are in different relationships and social interactions. And there's kind of this power game that gets played, and he divides it into 3 roles. So I want you to think of it like an upside down triangle. And at the bottom is the first role that he calls the victim role. So the victim is this lowest point, and it's really that central figure. Then up in one corner is what he calls the prosecutor. And then on the other corner of the triangle is what he calls the rescuer. We can call the prosecutor, you can think of it like the villain, and the rescuer, you can think of it like the hero. So, in many of our interactions with people, many of our relationships, we are playing one of these 3 roles. And let me give you an example so you can kind of hear what it sounds like, what each role is. So, a victim, you're going to hear them say things like, life happens to me, everybody else has it easier, I don't have control, there's nothing I can do, it's not my fault, it's their fault, I'm powerless, I'm really at the mercy of others, what do you want me to do? I can't help it. And the persecutor is usually that villain. Well, it's their fault. They place a lot of blame, they point fingers. They can be seen as controlling and manipulative, and they can be seen as the cause of everything, according to the victim. Now, the rescuer, we all think that this is the better role. It kind of is this, I have to fix it for everybody else. This role, it seems like it's helpful, that it's this super caring, I'm going to be your hero. I'm the only one who loves you. I'm the only one who takes care of you. But it actually keeps people in a victim state. It enables their belief that they are powerless. So it may look like someone is this hero that's out to protect this poor victim, but it's really all about this hero needing to feel like the hero for their own worth. So these roles, they're not personality flaws. They are ways that we have learned to adapt. They're nervous system strategies designed to keep you safe. Now, what happens is if we take this role on over and over and over, these states that we're in can become our traits. And we will all be in each role at different times throughout our life. Although most of us have a role that we kind of lean more into, we find ourselves more involved in. Or we may play different roles depending on the relationships that we're in. But overall, all of these roles keep us very small, keep us reactive, keep us disempowered. But when you learn to regulate your nervous system, you can unlock a different model. It's the flip of the drama triangle. It's called the empowerment dynamic. Now, in this model, the victim becomes the creator. I have a choice. So creators focus on what they can control. They're forward thinking. They don't focus on all the problems, but they focus on finding the solutions. Even if it's just moving forward one tiny step at a time and shifting at being the agent in their own life. The persecutor or that villain becomes a challenger. Okay, there's something for me to learn here. Challenges aren't all bad. Hard is not all bad. Feedback is not all bad. And then the rescuer becomes a coach. Now, this looks like I can support you without taking responsibility for you or for everybody else. I believe that the victim is capable. It's okay that they're going to struggle sometimes. It's okay for them to fail and to learn. I believe they can or they have the capacity to handle things. And they focus on their own growth. The hero can focus on their own growth because their worth is not tied to keeping the victim the victim. So the shift, it's not about forcing positivity. Shifting from victim to creator is about a grounded, embodied empowerment. It's about leading your life and not just surviving your life. So choosing faith over fear, developing and investing in beliefs that you are part of something greater allows you to step more into the role of creator. So essentially, being a creator means you stop outsourcing your power to all the circumstances in your life, to the past or other people's opinions. You start to realize that your imagination is not just this luxurious thing, it's an actual tool. You recognize that your dreams, they're not random. They're placed in your heart and your soul for a reason. And if you can move into this co-creator energy, it's even deeper. If you can acknowledge, if you can come to a place where you find and you realize you're not alone in doing this, you're partnering with God, with Source, with the universe, your higher self, whatever it is you want to name it. And if you feel like you're not alone, that you are in partnership, this gives you an element of safety. So think of having to go somewhere new. It's easier to go with somebody. I think when my kids were really, really young and in summertime, they used to go to different camps. Now, my two boys, they always preferred to go to camps together. Why? Well, it helped them feel safer. They knew somebody, they had more confidence. That's how it is for our nervous systems. When we believe that our life is in constant co creation, a few things change. You stop trying to force outcomes through willpower alone, and you start trusting that you're not alone, that you're being guided. You may even end up moving as if your success is already inevitable, not because you can predict it, but because you're aligning with the bigger vision planted within you. And your nervous system really does play a very large role here because when your body feels safe, you don't just hope for miracles, you are available for them. You are available to receive them. We have so much access to creation and inspiration when we are regulated and in team resilient. So, if creating and co creating starts with shifting from fear to faith, from that survival mode to safety, the next question is, well, how do you actually do that living day to day? And here's some nervous system friendly tools that I want to invite you to consider. These aren't just habits or hacks, they're actually practices that help you rewire your brain, repattern your nervous system, and reconnect with your creator energy. And they'll help you move out of survival and into imagination and vision and aligned action. So, the first tool is imagination. Imagination is where creation begins. It's not just wishful thinking, it's not fantasy, it's your brain's natural creative center. And it's how you start building new possibilities inside your nervous system before they happen outside of you. So when you vividly imagine yourself succeeding and thriving and feeling peaceful and supported, your nervous system responds almost as if it's happening in real time. So remember that famous saying, neurons that fire together, wire together? That's what we want to be doing. We want to be practicing the firing of those neurons. That means you can practice safety. You can practice feeling successful. You can practice feeling calm and confident before it even fully arrives. So, imagination gives your nervous system like a new map to follow. It teaches your body that expansion is actually safe. Now, if your body only ever practices fear and protection and survival and hypervigilance, then that's all it knows. But when you use your imagination intentionally, you start practicing a different story. And over time, your nervous system starts believing that that different story is possible too. Now, the second tool is kind of similar, is visualization. You can think of it like if imagination is the playground, visualization is a rehearsal. So visualization helps your nervous system rehearse the future version of you, not just think about it, but feel it. So when you visualize, like speaking confidently on stage or signing a contract or feeling strong and calm in a relationship or resting without having any guilt or just living your dream life with clarity and joy, you're literally giving your nervous system the experience ahead of time. It's like a muscle memory, but it's for belief. it starts priming your body to move toward that in reality. And it reduces fear because it's no longer this unknown thing, it's already familiar. So, visualization creates kind of like this emotional fluency with your future self. It strengthens your nervous system's capacity to hold the energy of expansion without always being driven back into protective mode. Now, the third tool I want to offer you is journaling. Journaling, it's like a bridge between your conscious mind and your unconscious deeper knowing. When your nervous system is stuck in survival, your thoughts often spiral. So you'll probably have some thoughts like, okay, what if I fail? Or who am I to do this? I can't do this. Things are never going to change. Why is this happening? Journaling actually slows that spin down. It lets you clear the static. It lets you gain some distance and perspective and then reconnect with like your inner, wiser, more grounded self. And it gives you place to practice believing new things on purpose. So when you journal, you can play around with different prompts like if I fully believed I was supported, I would, or the future version of me believes, or today I choose faith over fear by, and complete the blank. When you do these exercises, when you journal with prompts like this, you're actively choosing new neural pathways. You are deliberately directing your brain to create pathways. You're choosing creator energy. You're letting your nervous system experience hope and possibility and trust, and you're doing it safely in a controlled way that your body can actually handle. And over time, these tiny little practices that you do will start to reshape your whole self concept. Your nervous system follows along with that. And then the last tool, one of my favorites, is doodling. And if you're new here, yes, doodling, just stay with me. Doodling is not about art. It really is the opportunity for us to bypass overthinking and all this hypervigilance, all these hypervigilant parts of our brain, and tap straight into our intuition and our creativity and our nonverbal processing and playfulness. When your nervous system is dysregulated, your thinking brain tends to either shut down or spin out. You can overanalyze or ruminate or catastrophize or free up or even feel stuck. Now, doodling creates a safe, playful opening. It lets you express what words can't always capture. It lets your body process emotions and ideas and visions through the actual rhythmic movement, through imagery, through color, through flow. And it really invites in more of a rested and relaxed state. So, encourage you to just pick up a pen and try doodling. You can doodle your vision board. In my communities, we doodle things like our safety anchors. You can doodle your next step. You can doodle what state you feel yourself in. You can doodle your emotions. You can doodle your thoughts. You can doodle your future self, your version. Doodling is a way to reconnect with the part of you that knows how to create without judgment. Think about when you were a child. That is what we did. We just drew, we doodled, we played, we used color, we did it outside the lines. We didn't have the judgment. And when we do this, we're inviting in regulation through this expression, not through force. So all these tools, imagination, visualization, journaling, and doodling, they're not just these, oh, now I've got to add this to my to-do list. These are how you practice living from creator energy. And they are how you remind your nervous system every single day. It's safe to hope. It's safe to expand. It's safe to create. Now, the tools alone don't create the transformation. You have to be doing some daily integration. So, how do you make this part of your daily life? Well, tools will only work when you know them. You can consume them, but you actually need to be using them. They need to be practiced. And it doesn't have to be this overpowering or overbearing practice, just a few minutes here or there. So I'm going to give you a couple ideas how to bring this creator energy into your daily practice to help you befriend your nervous system. Now, the first one is just choose one belief and live from it. So pick a belief today. I'm safe, I'm capable, I'm supported, and then act as if it's already true. What would you do differently if you truly believe that you are capable, that you are safe, that you are supported? Now, another idea is to create like a 2-minute morning ritual. Before you check your phone, do something like just close your eyes, maybe journal a quick line, do a quick doodle, or visualize something in your future. Anchor into your future self first thing in the morning. Just take 1 or 2 minutes to do this. The third thing you can do is what I call the fear or faith check-in. Whenever you notice yourself starting to get activated, we have obviously the safety sequence, which we'll talk about in a second. But I want you to ask the question, am I choosing fear or faith right now? And let that awareness guide your next step. Fourth thing you can do, regulate first, then create. You don't need to push through dysregulation. You want to regulate first. Use your safety sequence, that 3-step sequence for regulating yourself in the moment. I actually created a whole YouTube video that goes through the safety sequence in detail, so you may want to go check that out. And I talk a lot about it in my guided journal as well, so you can learn more about it there too. But essentially, we are establishing safety. You're getting into your body, and then you are acutely relaxing. And then lastly, surround yourself with possibility-driven people. Stay connected to people and spaces that speak the language of vision and hope and faith and nervous system regulation. And that's the exact reason why I created my memberships, both that Comprehensive Connections membership and my Nervous System Journaling Club. It's the opportunity to practice all these strategies with like-minded people in a very, very supportive environment. I don't believe that we're just put here to survive life. I believe that we are here to create, and that we're here to co-create with faith, with vision, with a nervous system that knows how to expand safely. And we are all meant to create something different. There's no right, there's no wrong. We all have unique perspectives. We all have our talents, our traits, our unique backgrounds. We all have different challenges in life, different adversities. It's kind of like we all start at different addresses. And that's okay. We're meant to have different journeys. But I really want to encourage you, be the driver in your own journey. You have the power, and consider that you're not alone. Consider that you're a co-creator in your own life. That's what I have for you for today. I hope you found it helpful. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Building Resilience podcast. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about managing stress, building resilience, and leading a more purposeful life, then make sure we're connected on Instagram and Facebook at Leah Davidson Life Coaching. You can also subscribe to my weekly newsletter at www.leahdavidsonlifecoaching.com/newsletter. Looking forward to connecting.